Hello, I'm Peter Nanfeld, and with me today is Jan Howard. Jan and I are both members of the Village Church Missions Committee. In fact, Jan has been the chair of this committee for the last several years. Janet, we have an opportunity today to talk a little bit about a special event. Some people consider it the most important event on the Village Church calendar year.
True.
And the event is coming up very soon. And we like to call it our Global Impact Week. And I wonder, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea if at the beginning of our conversations today, if you gave a little explanation of what Global Impact Week is all about, because there may be people who are new to Shell Point, new to the Village Church, who really don't know what Global Impact Week is.
It is a special week. 1 week every year when we talk about what God is doing around the world. The Village Church has been committed to reaching the world ever since its founding 50 years ago. And so we give 1 week every year to talk about what God has been doing around the world.
But some may be wondering why. Why does the Village Church invest so much money, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and so much time in the support of workers that serve in places, distant places like North Africa or Afghanistan or Kurdistan, whatever. And obviously there's a lot to do right here in our own country, not to mention our own community.
Right.
So why do we do that?
Lots of people have asked me the same thing.
Really?
And it's because Christ gave a command to his church, well, to his disciples, just those 12 originally, and said, go and make disciples. And they followed his commands, and they reached the whole then world, all the way to Europe, and they began to make disciples, and the church grew.
Okay. But why spend a whole week talking about this? I mean, if we as Christians know that this is our responsibility to obey Christ's last command to the church, why don't we just do it? It seems like what we need is more action and less talking.
Well, you can't do action if you really don't know what you're doing. So when people come representing the countries where they've been working, they tell us about what God has been doing. We're encouraged. We're encouraged to give. That's what I do. I want to be involved. We're encouraged to pray. It's something I want to get on board for this because it's a commitment, a cause I want to give my life to.
It's inspirational.
Oh, it is encouraging. Sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the Global Impact Week. On Sunday, February 16th, our keynote speaker is David from the Green Mountains.
What's that?
And as you know, Jan, there are many countries in the world where regular missionaries, traditional missionaries, are not permitted to work or to serve by the governments there. And we call these countries limited access countries or creative access countries. And David comes from a place like that. So in this telecast, we're not going to mention his name, his last name, or the country that he serves in for security reasons.
Right.
But if we come on Sunday morning, the 16th, to hear about this work, we'll learn a whole lot more about David, and we'll learn where in the world the Green Mountains are.
I bet it's not the one we're thinking of in the United States.
Probably not.
This will be really great. So that's not just the only thing happening. That's the first Sunday.
Right. And on Monday?
There's going to be we call it Global Impact Banquet. And everyone is invited. Everyone. The only problem is they have to get a ticket, but it's free.
There you go.
And it's a wonderful time when David is going to tell us about the change in Alliance Mission, the changing face. Things are happening. They can't stay just static.
Right.
So leadership has looked at what can we be doing to reach the world better.
Some major changes.
Major changes. So he'll be telling us about that and kind of giving us, he has a wonderful presentation for us to see what God has been doing all over the world. It's very inspiring.
Good. And who else will be here for the week? What other workers?
Okay, then we will have Zach and Julie Stutler. David is a younger missionary with young family. Zach and Julie are grandparents, but they've had many years of working in the Dominican Republic.
I think over 30.
That's right. And they began in Santo Domingo, the capital city, and then they saw that Punta Cana, I bet some of our listeners have been to Punta Cana.
We certainly heard about it.
Yeah.
Saw it on TV.
Resort area, and Stutlers realized that nothing much is happening there. So they went there and began a church, and actually the village church was involved in the startup of that church in that wonderful resort community.
Okay, and then what about Tuesday?
Okay, they will be speaking Tuesday and telling us about what's been happening in Punta Cana. I really want to hear that because we've been involved. And then on Wednesday, especially for the women, sorry about that, Peter. There's a special meeting on Wednesday morning at 10:15, and Julie is going to be talking to the women about her challenges. Now that they have seen something happen in Punta Cana, they're going to be moving out of their comfort zone.
Right.
And so I'm really excited to go, and it's going to, well, if we want refreshments, sorry about that, you won't be there. Come at 10 o'clock, Julie will be speaking at 10:15. And then the evening, David and Julie and Zach will be joining all of us in a special time for prayer, really needed, for they can share from their hearts the things that they want us as a community here to support them in prayer for.
Okay. Probably by Thursday we'll need a breather.
Yeah, I
So
think so.
there are no events scheduled for Thursday, as you know. But then on Friday evening, we'll gather again for an inspirational service. All three of the workers will be reporting, telling us some wonderful things that have happened in their places where they serve. We'll have a lot of music and a time for praising and thanking God for the things that have occurred for His glory. Then on Saturday morning,
That's your turn.
something for the men. You know, there's something about the men that we like to get together for breakfast in the morning. And we've had several of these breakfasts over the past several years. They've been very well received. And we're going to have another one at the end of Global Impact Week on the Saturday morning. I don't know what it is. I've been having breakfast with a group of men from Eagles Preserve, Sandpiper Building, for the last 12 and a half years.
You're still doing it.
Once a month, yeah. And we go to the same restaurant every time, put out the menus, we look at them, close them up, and most of us order the exact same thing that we've ordered for the last 12 years. That's just a man thing, I guess.
Okay.
Anyway, we're going to have a great time on that Saturday morning. David will be speaking, and he'll be addressing the topic, fear, pride, who, me? And
Sounds
most
good.
of us guys don't like to think of ourselves as being fearful, and none of us like to think of ourselves as being prideful, but these are questions I think that we need to address from time to time, and David will be leading us through that. So that ought to be a great time. The tickets are $10 and available at the church.
So who can come?
Just the men.
Just the men, but from all of Shell Point community.
Absolutely.
Oh, super good. That sounds great. Well, then Sunday is the last day. This is Sunday through Sunday, a whole long week.
Right.
So on Sunday, we will have Zach and Julie Stutler with us for the morning service and the evening service. It's going to be very good.
And on Sunday night, I think they'll be talking about something new in their lives.
Because they're branching out. They saw God help them in Santo Domingo, in Punta Cana. It's time to move on. I like that. We don't get stuck someplace.
Right.
We're moving on. We're reaching more people. And shall we tell them where they're moving to?
Tough place.
Guadalajara, Mexico.
Right.
A very large city. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
it's huge. It's huge.
Huge. And God is doing great things there, and they want to join the team in Guadalajara.
Good. Well, as you can see, there's a lot of wonderful things ahead for us at the Global Impact Week. And Jan and I want to extend to each of you a very warm welcome
Definitely.
to participate in many of these Global Impact Week events as you possibly can. Come and learn why the Village Church is unequivocally committed to being a Great Commission missionary sending congregation. Thank you.